Hi guys, I'm very delighted to be here and share some excitement with you. This is a group work and today our topic is the factors that affect foreign exchange market and we'll use two currency pairs which is US dollars to euro and US dollars to Britain pounds. We divided this topic into three different parts. The first one is from the economic side to explain the factors that may affect foreign exchange market, and we'll mention three factors which is relative interest rate, relative inflation rate, and relative economic growth rate. The second part is other factors like exchange rate expectations, and finally the references. I will explain the first economic factor, relative interest rate. Ruyi will explain the relative inflation rate, and Don will do the final part, relative economic rate, growth rate, and exchange rate expectations. Here is the first currency pair, US dollar and the euro. This means that 1 US dollar can buy 0.81 euro. The second currency pair, US dollar and Britain pounds. This means that 1 US dollar equals to 0.70 pounds. The first factor that affects foreign exchange rate market is relative interest rate. Take US dollar as an example. Increasing in interest rate will have the following effects. Encourages capital inflow, increasing the demand of US dollars. Discourages capital outflow, decreasing the supply of US dollars. According to the Euro Central Bank, European interest rate has remained unchanged from 2016, currently sitting at zero as it shows in the graph. Increased supply in Europe causing a depreciation of the currency. As the picture shows, the Federal Reserve has decided to unchanged the interest rate at the beginning of 2018, then increased rate of 0.3%. Interest rate increases shows that the whole market has a higher expects of inflation in the future. The Bank of England has kept interest rate at 5% in 2018. Savers or investors will be affected by the rise in the interest rate, motivating further investment in the financial system. And I will pass to Ruyi.
The second economic determination is the relative inflation rate, and now it's re-speaking. Inflation is a sustained increase in the general price level of goods and services in an economy over a period of time. This would cause the rising price and devaluation of currency. Higher inflation rate would lead the least demand of export and more demand for the imports, and therefore less demands for the currency and more supply for currency. Following is the current inflation rate. United States have 2% and Europe has 1.5%, and the United Kingdom has 3% for the inflation rate. And now let's turn to the next page. Firstly, I would like to talk about the relative inflation rate between US dollar and the euro. United States have a higher inflation rate compared to the Europe. Therefore, there will be less demand for the US dollar, which means more supply, and there will become more demand for Europe, which means less supply. And next page, the graph in the left-hand side shows the demand curve shift left and the supply curve shift right. This leads the exchange rate decrease in the US dollar. The graph in the right-hand side shows the demand curve shift right and the supply curve shift left. This leads the exchange rate increase in euro. In addition, the US dollar has an increased trend in the inflation from April 2017 and April 2018. It is possible to increase in the following months. However, the Europe has a smooth and stable trend. It is possible to be stable trend in the following months. Secondly, I would like to talk about the relative inflation rate between US dollar and Great Britain pound. United Kingdom has a higher inflation rate compared to the United States. Therefore, there will be less demand for the GPD, which means more supply, and there will be more demand for US dollar, which means less supply. The graph in the left-hand side shows the demand curve shift right and the supply curve shift left. This leads the exchange rate increase in US dollar. The graph in the right-hand side shows the demand curve shift left and the supply curve shift right. This leads the exchange rate decrease in the Great Britain pound. In addition, the US dollar has an increased trend in the inflation rate. However, the United Kingdom has a humped shape of inflation rate, so the trend has the possibility to decrease in the following months. And next will the Dawn to say about the third economic determination.
Then I will introduce the third economic determinants of foreign exchange market, relative economic growth rates, and other factors, exchange rate expectation. The theory of relative economic growth rates states that the higher levels of economic growth is caused by an increased demand for imports, and this will increase the supply of currency. Relative economic growth rate between USD and Euro. Explained in relative inflation rate that United States has a higher inflation rate compared to Euro, which represents United States is experiencing an increase in imports. This indicates that US dollar will increase in supply. As we can see in the graph, demand of USD decreases and the supply of USD increases. Relative economic growth rates between USD and Great Britain pounds expanded in relative inflation rates that the United Kingdom had a higher inflation rate compared to the United States, which represents the United Kingdom is experiencing an increase in imports. This indicates that Great Britain pounds will increase in supply. As we can see in the graph, the demand of US dollar increases and the supply of US dollar decreases. Exchange rate expectation between US dollar and Euro. According to the Federal Reserve, in the next 6 months, the cross rate between US dollar and Euro will decrease from 0.811 to 0.782. If the currency is expected to depreciate, speculators will not be interested in investing the currency, thus causing the demand to decrease. Exchange rate between US dollar and Great Britain pounds. According to the Federal Reserve, in the next 6 months, the cross rate between USD and Great Britain pounds will decrease from 0.703 to 0.672. If the currency is expected to depreciate, speculators will not be interested investing the currency, thus causing the demand to decrease. Overall, our group has introduced 3 economic determinants: relative interest rate, relative inflation rate, and relative economic growth rates, and one other factor, exchange rate expectation. These are our reference. Thank you for listening.